Hello, my name is Jacob, and I want to thank you for joining me on and listening to my presentation on what Flakka, what is Flakka, which is also known as a zombie, which is also known as the zombie drug. In my opinion, I feel like it still deserves to be called a zombie drug because it legit makes you feel like a zombie. So for the presentation, I will go over the history of what Flakka is, the drug, basically what the drug mechanisms and the neurotransmitters that were involved in the drug, what the DAA scheduled the drug as, and then also which of the body systems does Flakka affect the most. And it's a really important factor to know because we need to know how would it affect our body and which ones does it affect it most out of all our entire body system. And also I'll be going over some little fun facts about Flakka and where I'll be sharing where did it originate from, where it doesn't usually make appearances in, that type of fun facts. And I'll show the references and explain what references that I used in the that I used for my presentation, so I can be able to tell you how these websites or the references I showed will help me be able to make this presentation and explain more about what Flakka and how dangerous this drug is. So once again, what is Flakka, aka the zombie drug? And as you can see from the picture here, even though the words are kind of blocking what it is, but even though you could see the majority of it, is basically what Flakka is. It's basically, it kind of looks like rock candy. If you think about it, it does look like rock candy, but it's not rock candy at all. It's a drug, and in eating that, I think you can also inhale it or smoke it, and it can affect your body in many ways, and it's a really, really bad drug, as we'll explain later on in my infographic here. So, what is the history of Flakka? So, Flakka is known as the zombie drug. A little bit of fun fact as well. It used to be called, I think, Grovel, and it kind of does look like Grovel too, to be honest. And it also originated from the bath salt, as you could see from the first picture up top. That's where it says what is Flakka, aka the zombie drug, and it's basically this is a drug that has powerful and alarming behavioral effects. A little bit on the powerful and alarming behavioral effects, as you can see, the picture of the Hulk, which I put in it, that it basically perfectly represents what that is. So, the reason why I picked the Hulk, because it basically shows what happens if you were to take the drug. You'll have kind of the effects of the Hulk. No, you don't gain superpowers. You don't gain superhuman strength. That's not what Flakka does for you. Don't ever take Flakka, because if you were to take Flakka, it would basically make you be very violent. And there were cases of people where they take Flakka and they were to have strange behavioral effects. They became violent. They were to be so anxious, and basically they wouldn't be thinking at all. They would just be thinking about ravaging. They want to harm people. They wanted to cause destruction. So that's why I put the Hulk there to perfectly represent what Flakka is, and how dangerous and powerful this drug can really be if you were to have it in your system. So, what was the drug mechanism and the involved neurotransmitters? So, the neurotransmitters that are involved in the Flakka, or that are involved basically with Flakka, is dopamine. I'm hoping I'm saying these words right. I'm not a good my pronunciation is pretty bad, so bear with me on that. And also the non-adrenaline. It's also non-adrenalines it as well. It hinders their basically reabsorption into the brain, and it leads to the higher concentrations in the brain synapses, and thereby it intensifies the effect of the drug, which means they won't be thinking a lot more often. They would the whole brain will be all messed up, which causes them to figure out what their next move, or what can they do next. It's just basically the drug is just gonna be messing with your entire brain system, and it's just like not a good effect to be having, and it's really, really bad. So, so the U.S. Justice Department of the drug, basically the Drug Enforcement, the Administration of Drug Enforcement, which is also known as the DEA, they had a schedule for the drug which is categorized as a Schedule 1 drug, which indicates you cannot use it for medical use. You can never ever use it for medical uses, and it's very high. It has a very high potential of being abused. So like a lot of people would be using Flakka a lot more often, even though like they don't really need it, and it's never something that doctors or like medical offices will ever prescribe to you or even give you, because that's how bad the drug is. The pharmacology of the drug basically is like Flakka can be consumed orally it can be orally snorted, smoked, injected, or vaping. Those are the ways you can consume the Flakka, but after 15 minutes of like inhalation of it, like inhaling the drug and all that, the effects can last for basically 3 to 4 hours to possibly several days, that's actually a long time to be having the effects of the drug. And it can metabolize the body quickly, usually within a few hours, but traces of it can be detected in the urine system. So basically, if you were to take it, like your body, you won't feel it at first, but your body will be able to quickly, it will be able to adapt to it, will be able to have the drug in the system, and you'll be feeling the effects of it within a few hours. But then, of course, like if you were to do your urine tests, you will be able to still tell if you have it in your system or not. Which is kind of a good thing, because if you were like thinking like, do I have something in my system still, and you take a urine test, at least you know if there's something in your system, you can verify it through those. So, what are the overall symptoms of Flakka? Well, Flakka may include like intense euphoria, increased sociability, enhanced alertness, and cause hallucinations, and many more. Those are the symptoms that it will cause. On the more negative sides of Flakka, it may cause like agitation, anxiety, kidney failure, much worse symptoms that I probably would not put on here. I just want to put on like what are like the worst ones I would recommend to put on here. I mean, obviously anxiety is bad, and we don't want to make it worse. Like everyone can get anxiety these days. It's just something that you should not be able to worsen. Kidney failure is we need kidneys to live. You lose both your kidneys, obviously it's not a good thing, and having a kidney failure would not be a good thing to have. And basically, like the hallucinations is like a pretty having hallucinations is not going to be good at all, because like you'll be thinking about something that's not even there, or you see something that's not there, basically, and it's just like not good to have. So, as for the body system, which I actually have two pictures here. One of them explains what the Flakka side effects are, and it shows like the psychiatrics of it, the cardiac and the physical of what affects like what Flakka does to your body. And I kind of put another picture on the bottom, which just shows like the whole like upper body. I don't think it does affect the Flakka system, but it rather also showed like, so you can compare like the picture from the Flakka side effects to the bottom one if you want to. That's why I put that. That's basically why I put it there. But moving on to the body system, so basically Flakka primarily affects the central nervous system, which is its main effect of it, but it can also affect the muscular system as well as the cardio system, because Flakka increases the levels of adrenaline in the body and can lead to very dangerous health issues like rhabdomyolysis and heart attacks. Like I said, I don't know if I'm saying that right, but that's like what like it does to the body. But to move on to like more of the skeletal system of it, so like basically, like even though Flakka does not affect it like directly, it doesn't directly affect the system. This is something I should have probably put in the infographic, but I rather put it in the presentation video here. Like it can like, but like it already put, but in the systems where it has hallucinations, that's like what it does, and it induces the hallucinations that may lead to like a risky and violent behaviors, which could result in injuries, including like a broken bones and serious trauma to the body. And that's like where like the more the skeletal side of the system is at. So some little fun facts about Flakka. Like I said, grovel, that's another term you can call it. But Flakka did first make it. I should have corrected here, but Flakka was making its like first ever appearance in Florida. That's where it actually originated at. Florida was the first one to be having Flakka and had multiple cases there as well of Flakka use and all that. So that's where it originated, and also it gained some attention in the pop culture with its bad reputation being in some TV shows, news reports, and of course the internet. Like I said, you could search up Flakka all over the internet, and you could basically find all of the bad stuff and why Flakka's bad. Even some news reports cover it and all this stuff. Here are some of the references here, which the first one is basically the DEA, which is the scheduling. If you want to look more about the Schedule 1 and what does it mean and all that, you could click on the links here. You could click on the link to see what it is. The addiction group, it basically shows like why Flakka. It explains some more about why Flakka is bad, and it does go more into more details about what the drug is. Like I said, if you want to go check the link, there's a link for it here. Same thing with there's another DEA article as well, which is basically more about the facts about Flakka. Even though it's on the short side of it, it's still good to take a look at that. So I recommend clicking on all these links so you can look through it. The last one is basically it's another infographic, but it does draw. It's only like a 1-page infographic, but it also does explain what Flakka is and also like what does it do and all that. So I recommend checking all these references here if you want to. So that's like my presentation about Flakka. I hope you all enjoyed the presentation, and I really hope you guys give this big presentation a good thumbs up, and hope as you learn something about what Flakka is and know how dangerous, and never ever, I'll say this again, never ever take Flakka. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and thank you for listening to my presentation.